Okay, since we're building this to go into After Effects, let's build this a little bit differently than we might normally think of working with Illustrator. I'm holding the Shift and the Alt button in order to get a perfect circle. If I need to resize, I'm just dropping my finger on the space bar at the same time, so I'm get my circle there. That is on a layer. That layer has an ellipse or a path called ellipse on it. I'm now going to go grab a little white smiley, Alt Shift, resize it, use my space to place it. I don't want that on the same layer as this, so let's add a new layer, and I'm going to drag that ellipse up there so that the eye is separate from everything else. Inside that eye we should have an iris, so let's grab that, make sure that we have this selected, and I'm going to just drag that down and duplicate it, hold the Alt and the Shift to shrink it just a little bit, change its color, we'll give it blue eyes, and I'm going to do that one more time. Alt Shift, bring it down, give it a little pupil. And the thing that often adds a little bit of life into our images, I'm going to do it one last time. Yay. Make sure I select that. Just a little bitty circle. I'm going to make that white, and I'm going to grab that and bring it up here to offset it so that we have a little catch light there for us. Okay, now I'm going to take that whole layer and duplicate it. I am intentionally putting things on different layers. This is right eye. This will be left eye. Grab left eye and pull it off to the side. I'm going to hold the Shift so that I keep it in line with the other eye. And the catch light is coming from a light source, so it should still be on the same side with both eyes. I'm going to create one more layer, and this will be the mouth, and we can do that a couple different ways. This may not be the prettiest mouth, but anyway, I'm going to grab that and make that black. I'm going to come in and duplicate that. And just so I can see what I'm doing, I'm going to grab a different color for it. And then grab both those, go to my Pathfinder, Window Pathfinder. Let's go ahead and minus the front. So now we have our pretty little mouth. And position it. There's our smiley face. I don't need all this extra stuff, so I'm going to go in and edit the artboard. Window properties, or I can also go into document setup, edit artboard, pull this off to the side a little. There's my Pathfinder and all. I'd note there what I hoped had I done that, but I'm just going to edit this artboard by getting rid of the stuff that I don't need. There's no reason to pull in all those extra pixels. And there's other ways to do this as well. So there's our smiley face, and we'll File, Save As, Smiley Adobe Illustrator file on my desktop so we can find it. Please note that normally when we start making these things, we make them all on separate paths just within one layer. However, when we come over to After Effects, thank you, new project, I'll update later, thank you, new comp, 1920 by 1080, 30 frames per second, and I'm just going to leave this set to 10 seconds. I'm going to go OK. File, Import, File, Import As, Composition, Retain Layer Sizes. And now we notice that we actually have all the individual layers. Yay. So, what happens if I just bring all these right down onto my timeline? I have them upside down. Nice job, Greg. So layer 1 goes underneath. I'll put the smile there. Okay, I didn't like to bring them in that way. If I bring it in that way, it comes in as a single composition, but I can double click it and it's what's called a pre-comp. Yay. All right. The pre-comp is basically grouping things together so they can be treated as a single object. And so the individual layers came in, and so if I wanted to move things around, I can do that. So we'll just work on the pre-comp and it'll show up in our comp. The first thing that we said we wanted to do is we wanted to take this layer and we wanted to change its color. So I'm going to go over here to where I have all my properties and effects and all that good stuff. Effects and presets. I want to change the color. So, which way do we want to change the color? Remove color matting. There's lots of different things that we can do to color, in case you haven't noticed. I don't want to key out color profile. I'm going to drag in the Lumetri color. And let's see look at all the different things we can do. So let's keyframe these color wheels a little bit. Probably some much easier ways to do this. But we're going to keyframe those color wheels. We'll come out here. We're not changing value yet, so we have to look under effects and we can see that way down here somewhere we have activated color wheels. So I'm going to lock in that value. I only use this because I want the same value on point 1 and point 2. And now I can go back here, and when I change values it will update. Get thy rear end over here. Yeah, I don't think I'm liking this version. Now all it did was neutralize. So we won't do that. In fact, I'm going to pause for just a second here. Okay, so I'm going to go grab the change color. I'm going to drag it down onto layer 1. I'm going to click my little eyedropper, tell it to change that yellow, right? Change to color is yellow. I'm going to keyframe. Oops, let's drag this out because I'm going to change it to yellow. So I'm going to come out here, make sure my keyframe's on. The only reason I'm had to manually add a keyframe is because I should have started here. Come back to this original one, and I'm going to transform it 180 degrees. Okay, he's gone from being blue to bright yellow, and we are changing the hue transform from 180 degrees to 0. With hue, there's 360 degrees if you think of your color wheel. So 180 means I'm going the exact opposite side. If I wanted to brighten up that blue maybe, or do something, I could also maybe do a lightness transform. I want it to end up here, so let's come back out here. Keyframe lightness transform, and down here I actually want to maybe brighten them up just a little bit. Okay, the other thing that we want to have happen is when he starts off here, I'm now on the smile, and so I can simply keyframe it out here. Once he gets yellow, this is where I want it, so now I'll go back to where it was. I'm going to rotate this 180 degrees. Okay, so he's transforming from frowny face to smiley face. I could do that with a scale or some other things, but that should do when I go back to comp 1, because this is a pre-comp I'm working on. Comp 1 is there, and it should be there, and it's not there. Where? Oh, there's nothing on comp 1. Smiley. Nice. So let's go grab smiley comp and drop it down here, and now he's where he's supposed to be. Bit. Cool. And now we can make him go from being a little blue thing maybe. Let's go into our transform. I want him to end up at 3 seconds to be right there in the middle. So I'm going to keyframe the position and the scale. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to scale him down, hold that shift, and we'll have him come up. Nice. Okay, and if I wanted to take him back down, I could certainly do the same thing and just reverse the animation. Then I want to export him. So File, Export to Media Encoder. I'm going to pause this because it usually takes my media encoder about 5 minutes to open up for some reason. Now media's encoder should be open, I hope. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe it crashed. Oh, nice. So we'll try that again. I've been having some trouble on my media encoder here. Okay, the preferable method for this is to File, Export to Media Encoder, or with Media Encoder open, you can go File, Open, and go grab your file. Media Encoder is going to give us more options and better compression, but today Media Encoder is not working nicely with me, so I'm going to kick this out as a QuickTime movie. So I'm going to go File, Export to RenderQueue. RenderQueue actually resides here inside of After Effects, as opposed to kicking out to the Media Encoder. It just opens up down here. We see it across here. I'm going to give it a name. Smiley.mov. Come on. Well, I can't spell. Smiley.mov. Okay, maybe it's Smiley. Smiley.mov. If you're on a Mac, you're going to get the option to kick it out to QuickTime. If you're on a PC, you're probably going to get AVI there. And we'll hit Save, and then we have to hit Render. And now it's going to render. We can see it actually, the render taking place. I'll render pretty quickly because I didn't trim off all the extra dead space there. All right, and now I have Smiley MOV, which I can upload to YouTube or send in an email or upload as an assignment. MOVs, AVIs are both uncompressed, lossless compression, and so they're going to be larger files. If provided Media Encoder works correctly for you, you're looking for H.264, which is what the default will be. That's going to give you a nice compressed video with good quality, which is recommended for sharing or posting to social media. When it kicks out, it will be .mp4. Okay, so there you have it. I hope that helps.